Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament weekly broadcast. This is Nightcat. I will be your host for this week. And for our first game, we have Simplicity, the purple Zerg, going up against Legacy, who plays as random. And on SSCAIT, that will be a true random. That's where this game is sourced from. Spawning as the yellow Terran down in the bottom right of Empire of the Sun. So I don't know a whole lot about both of these bots, but they are pretty close in ELO. I think the difference 20. So we should be in for a pretty good game. Got a Marine Scout coming out for Legacy. Doesn't look like Legacy's really trying to do anything too cheesy to take advantage of its random. Meanwhile, Simplicity went ahead and got the spawning pool, getting natural hatchery now. About halfway done. Legacy, though, sending the Marines up, found the drone, went ahead and killed it, but was just sending the Marines all to the same base instead of trying to scout different bases. And I'm kind of curious. That one turned around. It's like he's they're all headed back home because of the Overlord, the main that's going to get shot down. So interesting to see that behavior. Simplicity also scouting with every Zergling to the same base. So we see a little bit of duplicity here between the two bots, where their entire army is going focused, although Simplicity is going to run into a little bit of a problem here because these Marines are going to find the base while there's no protection available. The Zerglings are committing, though. They have found Legacy as well, so Legacy may be in a bit of a problem. The Legacy is pulling back some of its Marines. I'm thinking that Legacy actually may be in a better position here than Simplicity. Drones are being lost in the natural. The natural hatchery is about to fall, although I think almost all of the SCVs have gone down. Oh, no micro there on the Marines, so now we're kind of in a base race situation. There is a creep colony spawning, though, gonna morph into a sunken, so I think Simplicity might be able to pull this off here. Losing the drones now, though. Doesn't have the money for anything else, but Legacy not lifting its buildings. The Sunken was able to push the Marines back. There's one Marine left, and so at this point, Simplicity just has to clean up the buildings that are left. Did manage to save a drone or two, though, so it does still have an economy going. Very well played. Interesting how that turned out, with both of the bots finding each other at about the same time with their full armies essentially. So no one was home to defend. Good game there. And for our next game, we have two bots that have spawned in some rather troublesome spots on Andromeda. We have Lucas Moravik, the white Protoss in the bottom right, forcing me to hide the overlay a little bit here. And then we have UI Test as the blue Protoss in the bottom left, who I might just call UI or Test during the cast. Or, sorry, it's UIT Test. I missed that was a double T there, but they're in the bottom left of Andromeda, which means that I have to hide the minimap when I want to look there. So I will be doing a little bit of juggling, and hopefully my voice will not be cutting out too much if I look away from the microphone to make sure that I'm hitting the right button to hide such things. So we've got scouting going on in the top right base, both it's empty, and now the probes are just kind of going to follow each other to top left base, it looks like. So wouldn't be surprised if there was just some scouting logic there. You're just going through the start locations as they are ordered in the game. Meanwhile, back home, Lucas is going for, it looks like, 2-gate play, while Y is going for a core with a gas now starting up, so going some Dragoons there. Meanwhile, Lucas is coming out already, knows where the opponent is, coming out with the first Zealot, and it looks like gonna have the gas for Dragoons, but the Zealot's gonna have a little bit of time where he's just going to have free reign of the base. Decides to not go in. Oh, no, is going in. Okay, now backing off. Second gate now is down for UIT. Up, and the Zealot is gone. Was able to pump out 3 Zealots in time. So that Zealot really didn't get to enjoy its time in UIT's base for very long. But now we do have 3 Zealots coming from across, 4 Zealots rather, coming from across the map for Lucas. And Dragoons are now underway, along with the Dragoon range for UIT. So a little bit of Zealot engagement here. We can see a little bit of similar behavior where the bots, where the units are back, charging in, backing off, but no real damage being done. Well, now that there's a ranged unit, though, getting some pot shots off on the Zealots as they attempt to chase, but are just unable to get any attacks off. So there is a decent Zealot force, though, for Lucas, trying to make the advance here, but being pushed back by these Dragoons, which they just cannot quite properly engage. Meanwhile, Lucas is getting his gas now, but might be in a bit of trouble if these Dragoons can push the Zealots all the way back. But just wanted to, he could have used the... whoa, some of these Dragoons just kind of got stuck, able to be picked off by Lucas. That is unfortunate to see. Those Dragoons just kind of stood there and took the abuse, but now we've got some Zealot on Zealot action going on here. Pushing UIT back a bit, it looks like. Surprisingly, another Dragoon seeming to get stuck. So UIT test, the description is that it is just a... I forget if it used the word basic or not, but it is a bot that is for studying at a university, so I don't know if it works as like a basic bot for university students to start with and make tweaks, or what the exact story is. But these Dragoons are now doing work. We see some backing off during their cooldown, but the Zealots are going in for the probes, dealing massive economic damage. Just, there's going to be no real recovery from that, I don't think. Even though the Zealots were defeated and pushed back, you now have 66, less than 50 minerals. You're not even pulling your probes off of gas and back onto minerals, which is just unfortunate to see. Meanwhile, Lucas does have the 3 gateways, still only pumping Zealots, but now actually these Dragoons could do some damage if they can manage to get into the main. They could deal enough damage where UIT could actually potentially win this, which would be a bit of a surprise, but now we do have a Dragoon out for Lucas. UIT has to be very careful to not lose any units here, really has to deal some damage while it tries to recover its economy. Lucas not having some trouble there, the Dragoons not firing, not dealing any damage to... didn't mean to speed up, I wanted to see the units. Yeah, these Dragoons are in pretty decent shape. There's one with some hit point damage, but one with some shield damage, but overall they're still doing pretty good. Taking out units now, taking out probes. I have the overlay on, sorry about that. Now this is not looking good for Lucas here. His Dragoons are just not firing. They're kind of stuck in this. That force is too large for me to engage, but because they're kind of stuck in that sort of loop, UIT is just able, he's got his economy right back equal now, 15 probes to 8 probes. UIT really able to pull this around, which I was not expecting. I thought all of that probe death was going to be the end, but it seems like it wasn't. Losing a few goons now as Lucas's Dragoons are being a bit more willing to engage, but Lucas down to 1 probe, 159. Yep, this is over. Well played by UIT. Going with the Dragoons first really helped it to be able to deal with the Zealots from Lucas, and Lucas tapping out, given the GG there. I did not expect that game to turn around, was pleasantly surprised. Our next matchup here is Mad Mix R, spawning as Teal Protoss, which is a random bot, playing up against Wooly, spawning as the Orange Protoss on the left of Python. But it looks like this might unfortunately be, yep, a busted game. It looks like Mad Mix R did not properly load, or something went wrong. And then Mad Mix R leaves the game because the tournament manager for SSCAIT will exit out if there is no activity, no orders detected with a certain amount of time. So, Woolybot goes ahead and takes a free win there. And our next game, we have the Purple Protoss, Random Hammer, who is actually a random bot, but spawned as Protoss in this case, going up against Dragon, the yellow Terran down in the bottom right. Now, these bots, according to the website, have the exact same ELO, so we should hopefully be in for a good game. And also, hopefully, I have fixed the audio problems with my microphone. I've had to tweak some settings here and there. I was having some issues, I think, with the noise gate, so I do apologize. I noticed that the audio was cutting out a little bit on the last few games that I've casted. Hopefully that will not be the case. Hopefully I haven't made things worse, so we will see. Dragon is going out with the scout here, got his supply depot. Seems like a pretty normal build. Gonna go ahead and get his barracks now, and I would suspect that the refinery will be coming down soon. Random Hammer looks like gonna do a fast expand here. Yep, got one pylon, and now going ahead and getting the Nexus, which, depending on timing, Dragon could potentially abuse here, but Dragon does not actually know that he's up against a Protoss, so actually when I was talking about seeing a refinery soon, we might not. I forgot about that when I was mentioning that. So we've got Dragon scouted the wrong base twice and now knows where Random Hammer is by process of elimination. Might not even scout that base because really there is a need because you don't know what race your opponent is. Going ahead and doing a 1 Rax fast expand with a bunker up front, which is, you can do that against Protoss, but I'm more used to seeing that against Zerg. But you can do that. That will hold off Protoss aggression as long as they don't try to do a walk by with their Dragoons, or something aggressive with like a 2-gate Zealot walk by. Gonna go ahead and see the Protoss, the probe now, so now we know the race. The probe manages to squeak by, and there's a Zealot to say hi and go ahead and dance with the SCV. Now the probe does get picked off and gonna go ahead and get chased away by the Marines, deciding that it does not want to take any bullets into its shields. Now we are getting our robotics facility. Took me a moment to remember the name of that. And another pylon. We're getting some Dragoons out here now. Pretty standard, it looks like so far. Doesn't look like we're going to see any sort of Dark Templar type of play. And then the robotic support bay is going to come out, so we'll see Reavers, which is up. And now we're going to go ahead and try to push into this. Go ahead and picking off a SCV, but at the cost of quite a bit of life on your Dragoons, plus a Zealot. Excuse me, probably not worth it. And of course, now that watch, I've got the microphone fixed, cough is going to come in. But we are getting now a turret, which is good to see, just in case there is any sort of Dark Templar play. Are getting a turret in the main as well, which is also another good thing. We've got medic now to heal, not repair, the SCVs. Gonna go ahead and throw away our Dragoons. Not good to see. You want to keep them out of range, although it looks like I think that is the range upgrade being researched, and now we do have tanks. So really not the best way to try and pressure that that bunker. Now Dragon's gonna go ahead and try to push back the Dragoons here a bit, give it some space, maybe start to push towards natural, or just trying to get some space there. Gonna go ahead and siege up on the bridge again, getting some free shots while Random Hammer's not getting any shots at all. Going up to the north, looks like it's maybe actually just trying to go and get an expansion. Although only 200 minerals, that would be pretty early to be moving for that. Maybe just scouting to make sure that there was nothing up there, so that it doesn't get flanked. You know, I kind of like this observer over here, just making sure that nothing is coming around that way to surprise the units, because if they got attacked from this direction and this direction, that would basically be goodbye Protoss army. Now the Reaver did get picked off. You would expect that a lone Reaver without shuttles, not going to do so well against tanks, but another one has come up to sacrifice itself to the tank shots. Nice repair there, although why there's an SCV holding gas and minerals, I'm not sure. They could probably do to return those. But Dragon handling its economy pretty well. And now we do have the expansion up at the natural there. I do like this. The army feels quite small for Dragon in a way, but being very effective with its use, keeping these Dragoons back. Although the Dragoons maybe, but could have broken that while the Marines were a bit scattered if they concentrated fire on the tanks, but I don't know that they would have actually gained much from it. There we do see a tank get taken out. Some Marines lose and drop to the Reaver. Now the They get a little bit balled up there, the Protoss army, and so the tanks were happy to see that. But really, as Terran, you don't need too many tanks to keep a smaller Protoss army at bay if you've got fodder that can keep the Dragoons back. Dragoons thinking they can squeak. Probably a bad move coming into the natural, but ooh, just getting picked off, taking shots from above, taking shots from the right. That was just bad positioning there. It thought it could squeak in there because of the positioning of the Terran units up towards the north, but that just led to a bad retreat where they took a lot of shots and losses there. But meanwhile, behind this, Random Hammer did expand a third time, which is good to see. I don't know if it's aware of the Terran third. It actually might be. Go ahead, picking off a tank or two here. Just some good fighting going on. This tank's going to get lost. Oh, nice. Very quickly. Now, a little bit of a sandwich happening here with those Marines coming out of the middle. Fourth trying to be taken by Dragon here. Getting picked off by Random Hammer. Random Hammer floating a bit of minerals here, and a bit lower on supply than the Terran. Usually you want, as the Protoss, I don't know what is happening there. The army, I guess, was trying to group up and not realizing that there's just a pack of Marines and medics in the middle, picking them all off. Not good to see, but while failed to stop this expansion, it did delay it. And Random Hammer gonna go ahead and expand, double expand here, which is nice to see. But I don't know if it's really got the army to stand, and then the game is going to end. So not sure if one of the bots crashed or GG'd out. My guess would be that this probably ended in a crash, but I'm not sure who. Hard to say who was going to win this. It looks like Terran's in the stronger position. If he marches forward and can contain here, these expansions are not going to do much for Random Hammer. Good game either way. Would have liked to have seen it played out to the end, but unfortunately, looks like something happened with the live game where it ended. So we have here Red Rum spawning as the purple Terran on the bottom left of Andromeda, going up against Soren as the orange Terran in the top right. So go ahead and speed up the early game a little bit. We got a nice Terran versus Terran. I don't think I have casted one of these in a little while. And we'll see what they do. So looking pretty standard so far. Both got a supply depot down, getting our SCVs. Now we've got barracks coming down for Soren, barracks coming down now, and a refinery as well for Red Rum. So Red Rum going for that quick gas. Soren not getting any gas yet, but now that the barracks is complete, gonna go ahead and get another supply depot. Now getting the gas. Floating a little bit of minerals there. Just interesting to see, but did get a couple of Marines taking out the scout. And Red Rum gonna go ahead and do the same as well, but already has the factory. Go ahead and slow back down a little bit here. Soren is just getting his factory, I believe, and we do see a starport, so it actually looks like Soren might be doing a 1-1-1 build, because I do see the starport here, getting the control tower already. That's actually pretty brave there. He did get a couple of vultures, so I was thinking he didn't really have anything except for the couple of Marines to defend himself, but both bots choosing to go with a one base play here, although the bunker here placed at the natural. Let's see if it has any. It does have a couple of Marines are in it, so I'm gonna go ahead and rally the units to there. Going ahead and getting siege mode, it looks like, as well as a comsat to protect against any potential cloaks. Now, instead of going for a Wraith, though, we do have this dropship with 4 vultures, so I'm gonna go ahead and pressure the front while dropping in the back. I like it a lot, especially since Soren has gone for tanks, and tanks are not too mobile. But the front getting there maybe a little bit early, but gonna go ahead and draw the attention to that front line there while we go ahead and get the sneaky drop here in the back. Gonna go ahead and take out some SCVs. They don't really have anywhere to run. Vulture's running back now. The only unfortunate thing is that because that tank is there at the front, can't really pressure the front as well, but they are trapping the tank there, managing to deal a lot of damage. A lot of SCVs down. 10 SCVs left. finally the drop is taken care of. The dropship, though, is just kind of chilling there, which is pretty interesting. But now we've got tanks with siege up at the front as well. Gonna go ahead and pressure. Really liking this this micro here and what Red Rum is doing. Seren, though, keeping the vultures in line as well, keeping them up front in front of the tank, making sure that it can't not get rushed. Meanwhile, behind this, Red Rum setting up his natural. A little bit slower than Seren, but did not take that economic damage that Seren did. Unfortunately, the replay desynced somewhere around here. It was kind of comical, though. All of a sudden, Seren's units just started shooting at themselves and killing themselves. So we will go ahead and continue from here. And let me just make sure that everything is recording properly and set up. All right, it is. So we've got Red Rum here trying to push into this front. There's really no economy for Seren right now, with just 4 workers. And this one keeps getting pulled off to do repairs, so I think this is just a matter of time until Red Rum is able to overrun. Especially, I forget if I showed that he does have his natural established here. Very nice defense. And that dropship just sitting there, not a symptom of the desync, because it is still just sitting there here in open BW. Slowly we're killing off units because they just can't be repaired. There's not the economy to support it. And now Red Rum going to go ahead and clean up. So that was really awesome to see the pressure on the front along with the drop at the same time. A very nice play with the 1-1-1 there opening. Just an awesome game. I don't know what more I can say about it other than just watching Red Rum do the cleanup. And GG. And for a rather recent game on the SSCAIT ladder, we have Purple Wave spawning as the yellow Protoss up in the top right of La Mancha, going up against Stardust, the red Protoss on the bottom right of La Mancha. So Stardust has definitely been blazing a trail recently. It actually, I think, has set a highest ELO ever achieved record on the Basil ladder of over 3,000. I think right now it has 3,018. I'm not sure if that is the highest that it was at. So pretty exciting stuff to see out of the bot. And then Purple Wave has actually been pretty close on its coattails as well, so we should be in for one heck of a game here. I think actually just prior to Stardust setting that ELO record, I think Purple Wave might have set it as well, or at least took the #1 spot on the ladder, and then Stardust came up to take that spot. And so just commenting more on the game than the bots, we have Purple Wave going with a 2-gate, while looks like we're getting to see a 1-gate core from Stardust most likely. We have a little dance the probes happening here. Now we've got a Zealot on its way out. Heading down to the main. Gonna probably get there before the core finishes, but we have another Zealot out, so should be okay. And they seize that with the scouting probe. Gonna go ahead and back off here. Head back home. Also a nice little wall here. Seem to have been blocking off the probes from taking the natural, though, so a little bit of an accidental delay happening there, but another nice wall being formed there by Purple Wave. And so now, and I do apologize, it looks like my browser is being a little bit choppy, I think, compared to normal replays. So today's recording is just full of technical problems, but we are making it through. So we got the nice little probe transfer here. Gonna be up 1 base, but going to be behind on the Dragoon count, as now we've got a 3 Dragoon army coming up here. These Zealots can maybe do some work, depends on what they do. Interesting how 2 of them just kind of waited up there, while the rest fell back, but this depends on how this fight goes. Looks like he tried to get a cannon, but it ended up getting too damaged. Gonna maybe trap the Dragoons. Unable to trap them. Got some shots off on him though. Trying to get a cannon there again. Trying to get something to back up these zealots. Gonna go ahead and pump out a goon now, but I'm afraid it might be too late. Dragoons just taking... It looks like this was actually a 4-gate from Stardust, it looks like. So while Stardust is cleaning up the probes in the natural, spoke with the author of Stardust after my last cast, and he cleared up a few things with the odd behavior that I observed in that matchup against Zim, where the Dragoons just were kind of moving to random places. Apparently that version of the bot had a bug in it, where if there was a wall and units could not path past that wall, the pathing would just kind of break, and the Dragoons would just kind of gather in random places. So that was a known bug for that time, which was fixed. And as while we didn't see a wall here, as we can see the strength of Stardust just plowing through there to the end. Just a late transition to Dragoons there by Purple Wave, unfortunately costing him against, and then going for the expansion as well, costing him against the 4-gate. So well played by Stardust. For a ZVZ here, we have a Alien spawning as the White Zerg on the bottom right of Circuit Breakers, going up against Cubot, the Teal Zerg in the top right. So Zerg games can sometimes be pretty quick, a little bit of a coin toss, sometimes, depending on if you happen to just choose a strategy that is very weak to your opponent's chosen strategy. Things could go very badly for you. But we have Cubots spawning pool. It seems like the unit thing there was production thing was a little bit glitched out there. But I think they got their spawning pools actually at about the same time. So I was a little bit thrown off because it looked like Cubot had gone for an early spawning pool, but that turns out to not be the case. The little health bar that shows the completion rate was like weird looking there for a minute. But we do have the first couple of Zerglings out, a natural hatchery coming down for Cubot, so Cubot opting for a little bit more of a macro-oriented build. Meanwhile, Alien getting the standard set of 9 Zerglings, I believe that is. 6 Zerglings. But now Cubot able to get about the same amount of Zerglings. Now we've got Alien joining up with a few more, and a little bit of back and forth. But Alien actually, interestingly enough, has got gas and is getting a lair, so it looks like we might see one base Hydralisk play, I'm thinking. A little bit of trading of the Zerglings, pushing back. Pretty common to see in Zerg vs. Zerg. This natural hatchery is just being used as a macro hatchery for right now, so it doesn't even exactly count as an expansion, but Cubot is getting gas right now, so potentially going to be able to respond to Alien's gas acquiring. But now Cubot knows. Now is the question, and it looks like Alien's gambit for going for the gas will not pay off, as the Spire is unable to complete. All of the workers are going to fall, and Cubot is going to take the win. And that's the gamble that you take. Alien opting to go for tech as opposed to, or tech and a little bit of army, as opposed to going for economy or army, or focusing one of those two. Meanwhile, Cubot going ahead and just focusing on army, overwhelming with Zerglings, and then slowly teching to the air, just in case it needed to. Very well played by Cubot. And here we have Matej Istanik, the yellow Terran, up in the top right, going up against Faint, the teal Terran, down at the bottom, and this is on Tau Cross. So we have another Terran on Terran. I don't think we will see the fancy attack the front and drop ship the mineral mine like we saw last time. But we should be in for a good game here. So we've got Faint going ahead and scouting off to the wrong base. Going ahead and getting, he already has his gas, he's got his barracks up, gonna go ahead and pump out a marine or two. Meanwhile, Matej has got is getting a second barracks here, but also has their gas, so should be go. Going ahead and getting 2 factories for, I got the colors mixed up there. for Feint, so gonna go for a pressure build, it looks like here. And then Matej is gonna go ahead and scout with Marine. Gonna run into a Vulture and meet its untimely demise. And then the Vulture's going to just do laps, donuts out in the parking lot, it looks like. Another Marine ends up meeting its death. I suppose that is because Matej has not actually scouted where Feint is located, but he could make some educated guesses as to excuse me, as to where that would be. That cough kind of took me by surprise there mid-sentence. And now we've got the pressure from the two factories, the large amount of Vultures, the pull of the SCVs. This is quite the massacre happening. There go the medics. Here come more Vultures. The natural looks like it's being built. That's going to be the game and for Feint there with the two factory pressure. Matej trying to go for like a Marine medic build there. Did get two factories, but the Vultures just came streaming in before any mech was out for Matej, and then that was just the game. The mech, or sorry, the Marines and medics, along with the SCVs, just could not stand up to the influx of Vultures that happened there. For our next game, we have Dave Churchill spawning as the blue Zerg in the top right position of Talcross, going up against Cherry Pie from the SSCAIT 2017 tournament, spawning as the green Zerg down at the bottom. So we have another Zerg versus Zerg. We'll see if it plays out in somewhat of a similar fashion. Looks like Dave Churchill, who is a random bot though, so Cherry Pie does not know that it's up against a Zerg, is going for a 4-pull, and a very quick scout with the drone does indeed confirm the location of his opponent. Will Cherry Pie be able to handle the 4-pull? Looks like the Zerglings are on the way, but Cherry Pie's Zerglings are finished in time, so should be able to defend this and then come out with the economic advantage. The Cherry Pie's Zerglings getting broken up a little bit, so a little bit of an issue there for Cherry Pie. Gonna lose that natural hatchery, lets it die instead of canceling, which is surprising to me. Gonna go ahead and engage there, lose the Zerglings, but still have 3 left over. Gonna go ahead, up 2 of them kind of got distracted there by the drone, allowing the Dave Churchill Zerglings to go ahead and pick off some more. So that has been fairly successfully repelled. Disappointing to see the natural hatchery actually get destroyed as opposed to cancel, but you will have that. We're going ahead and we are getting a macro hatchery instead now. Meanwhile, Dave Churchill has a decent number of Zerglings back at home, seems to be getting more, sending them back out now. I thought maybe that Dave Churchill, since the stream of Zerglings had stopped, was transitioning into something else, but it looks like now that he's getting a gas, or he might just be getting that in order to get Zergling speed. Now, the Zerglings for Dave Churchill have made it into the main, but there are Zerglings there for Cherry Pie. And nice, I think that was a nice concave there by Dave Churchill, taking out all of the Zerglings, going after the drones now. Drones are very important. ZVZ gotta keep them alive. 2 drones, 1 drone left. 1 drone left. And Dave Churchill's able to take those out, and it looks like Dave Churchill will take the win in this one. I thought Cherry Pie was going to be able to turn that around, but it looks like the second wave of Zerglings was enough to take it off, or take it all for Dave. Well played by the random bot, getting Zerg and going 4-pull. For game number 10 of this cast, so we've had quite the large number of shorties but goodies. We have McRaveZ as the teal Zerg, spawning at the bottom right of Empire of the Sun, going up against Beta Star, the purple Protoss, spawning at the bottom left. Again, the game choosing 2 troublesome start locations for me in terms of casting. But we have Beta Star going ahead and looking like it's going to do a Forge Fast Expand with the forward-facing pylon there, scouting off to the top left. And McRaveZ scouting to the left of itself to find Beta Star pretty soon here with the Overlord. We do have a Forge going down for Beta Star, so it looks like it will be a Forge first fast expand. We'll see if we get some cannons. the spawning pool for McRave Z almost finished here. That's going to finish up sooner when we'll probably see some Zerglings pop up into the queue. Meanwhile, Beta Star here looks like saved up the money for the Nexus, but it opts to go for a cannon, which is probably a smart move here since Zerglings are under construction and going to be finishing up pretty soon here. Meanwhile, McRave Z is going for the expansion here at his natural and getting his gas. Beta Star has identified McRave Z's starting position, and so therefore knows where he is and knows what's up right now. Now McRave Z coming in, sees the forge, already knows what's happening down here thanks to the Overlord for the most part, but sees the forge, decides that he doesn't have enough to actually get in, and this drone felt left out, so he came over to go ahead and dance with the Zerglings. Now, pretty decent looking wall here for Beta Star, getting the gateway now with just the 2 cannons. The Nexus is finishing up, so not going to have units for a little bit, while it goes ahead and pumps up its economy. Meanwhile, McRave Z feeling no threat at all, going ahead and getting the lair. We'll see if he goes for Mutalisks or for Hydralisks and then Lurkers, but I would have expected to have seen the Hydralisk done already if that was the case. Going ahead and throwing down the Spire. Unfortunate that probe is still excuse me, still there, so Beta Star sees exactly what is up, knows that it's going to need to get some anti-air, and the Cyber Core will soon be finished, allowing the production of Dragoons, which do have a gap there that they should be able to get out, but I would be interested to see if the bot has any issues at all getting a larger army out of that gap, or if it'll do anything like destroy that gateway there at its choke at some point. Now, Dragoons are popped out onto the field, and the Spire is still not yet complete, so we don't even have... Oh, and it just finishes, so now we've got the Mutalisks under construction, 6 of them, so we should be in for some good harass. There's definitely a lot of space here that can be played with. Would not be advisable to rush into this main here, because you really don't have any good escape avenues, and you're going deep through exposed territory. So we'll see what McRave Z does here, and he does seem to find the opening. Gets a shot off, gets a probe, but goes ahead and has to back off a little bit here because those cannons... This cannon does seem to be pretty decently placed. Gonna go ahead and move out with its army here, probably to pressure the natural, and we do have the Sunkens, or yeah, we have a couple of Sunkens that finished in time, however, the other 2 did not. Targeting the ones that are morphing in pretty interestingly. Didn't quite get it finished, but forcing those Mutalisks to have to fall back and deal with this pressure up front. The Mutalisks trying to harass again. One nice thing is that they don't have a long distance to travel in order to choose between harassing or not. Looks like this drone maybe wants to go expand, but is a little bit afraid or something because he's doing a bit of a dance. Maybe he was just scouting out there. Hard to say what exactly it was doing. Now trying his luck again against the 4 Sunkens here. Again, not targeting the weakest one, but able to take one out after taking a few losses. Being pushed back though by the Mutalisks, so very good Mutalisk play happening here. Taking out some of the Dragoons, thinning out the 3 of them. But now having to back off a little bit as reinforcements are joined, but pushing them all the way back to the natural. So right now McRave Z has no threat. He did end up taking a 3rd up at the natural of the other base, so I think that drone scout or dancing around outside of the natural may have just been a scout. Going ahead and getting now 6 Sunkens here, realizing the pressure that he is under, and that is required. But Beta Star though, if I remember correctly, is pretty well known for just setting its whole army after any 3rd or 4th, or any base really beyond the 2nd one. So we'll see once Beta Star gets observers if he's able to find this base up here and go ahead and attack it. But losing some Dragoons, trying to deal some damage to the Sunken Wall, trying to break through, but McRave Z just adding more Sunkens, going, you know what, you want to keep fighting me here? That's fine, I'll just keep replacing these while harassing you at your natural. Wonder what that count is right now. So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Mutalisks, it looks like. So a pretty decent cloud. We do have a 12th one over here all on its own that's about to go bye-bye, which it does. And we have another creep colony finishing here, which should become a Sunken pretty soon once we have the minerals for it. So McRave spending his economy very well, keeping his minerals down low, which is always a good thing to see. Well, now we've got the Mutalisk cloud engaging against the excuse me, against the Dragoons here. Taking some damage to the Mutalisks because they are a bit damaged at the start of this engagement, but able to hold this off for now. Meanwhile, the third is well underway, going ahead and not getting a fourth. That was just a Zergling going and burrowing to make sure that Beta Star is unable to expand. I love that. The one thing where Mutalisk Cloud kind of gets weak against a bot is that bots can individually choose units with that are stacked on each other with ease. So you can't really hide your weaker Mutalisks that way from a bot. But there is still usefulness or utility in using the Mutalisks that way, especially if you end up doing a bot versus human game. So it is still a good thing. Pardon me, a good thing to put into your bot. I'm going to slow this down for just a moment. We do have a large army coming in here from Beta Star into McGravesy, but I want to go ahead and take a look into the main. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gates pumping off of 2 bases right now. Now we're seeing the switch to Hydralisk, so we'll see how the switch does with the sunken payoff. Yeah, the Mutalisks needed to come back here in order to support this. Just see, what speed am I running? Okay, I'm running at fastest right now, so we'll go back up to fastest times 2. So possibly able to repel this, but the Mutalisks going off when they needed to stay, but able to keep the Beta Star back a bit. Beta Star still in the dark about this third up here. Plenty of creep colonies in a nice formation, ready to become Sunkens if they need to, but now this natural running into a bit of trouble. Maybe needs to get some replace the Sunkens. There we go, we're just getting a creep colony down. Hydralisks coming out, mixed with the Mutalisks, dealing some damage to these Dragoons, but Beta Star just with a large mineral cache, but short on gas, able to pump out a lot of units right now on those 9 or so gateways that we counted earlier. I did hear an observer die, and we do have lurkers out on the field, so it makes sense that the observers are out here now. One lurker pops before it can burrow, I imagine, because I don't see a observer in the way here. And really just all the action is here at this natural of McGravesy. McGravesy is going ahead and taking a fourth now. Love the lurker usage, love the how they were able to burrow and unburrow within range. Supported by a few Hydralisks as well to sop up some damage, but now we've got not targeting the observer to keep the lurkers safe. So now able to push back to the choke of the natural. Beta Star just not relenting on the pressure, but also not really able to get that strong of an army because it just keeps trying to push in. And so the army size for Beta Star just gets knocked down and then gets up again. But we'll see if McGravesy is finally able to keep it down or not. So nice lurker here, getting a lot of shots off. Not getting any kills though yet. There's one kill for it. Another kill for it, I think. Nope, that was something else that took that one down. Meanwhile, behind this, we are seeing some more upgrades for the Hydralisk. So notice that the Mutalisk numbers are starting to dwindle a bit as well. So I think we're seeing a more committed switch to Hydralisk. But we are getting some more Mutalisks, so I retract what I said. Let's see here. So now McGravesy looking like it's in a bit of trouble here. Possibly just not able to produce fast enough. Not sure if we're getting a lot of production up here, but Beta Star is out of minerals. Trying the long distance mine. If McGravesy can hold this off, it should be okay. And these probes coming back here. And now McGravesy going on the offensive, gonna be able to clean this up. Well played by McGravesy, keeping Beta Star from taking a third. He is trying to long distance mine, and there's this lurker just sitting here going, hey, what's up, probes? How you doing? Fancy meeting you here. Oh, wait, maybe I should do something about you. You know what? You're all cool. You're just busy collecting minerals. I don't mind. You're all friendly. Oh, hey, why'd you attack me? But you're pretty cool. I like you guys. Meanwhile, there are still some Dragoons out on the field here for Beta Star, but I don't think they're really going to be able to do much. They're going to go ahead and try to fall back here. All of the probes, except for 2 of them, have been cleaned up by the rest of the army. Some of the lurkers got caught by surprise by these back Dragoons, but now they're getting cleaned up. And that's going to be the game for McGravesy. Well played, weathering the storm of the Protoss until it ran out of minerals, and then going ahead and pushing forward. McGravesy does very well with small army sizes, and it's really great to see because a lot of the times it looks like McGrave's East just going to be, you know, at the end of the game here and not going to be able to withstand whatever's coming at it. And a number of the games that I cast, but somehow it's like the army is just big enough that he's able to survive the onslaught that's coming at him and eventually pull ahead and take a win. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's one of the strongest Zergs out there right now. Has that economy army balance just very fine-tuned and is a beaut to watch in games. So just go ahead and enjoy this swarm destruction here, or destruction by the swarm. Beautiful play there by McGrave's Eve. Well-earned win. For our final game of tonight, we have a couple of strong bots to end things on a strong note here for us. We've got Locutus, the purple Protoss, spawning at the top right of Benzine, going up against Halpan, the orange Terran at the bottom left of Benzine. That would be weird if they spawned on different maps, because then how would they play each other? But let's see what we've got here for openers from the bots on 2-player map here. So we've got Locutus going ahead and throwing down his gateway, and then going ahead and scouting just to make sure of what Halpan is doing. Halpan has his supply depot down, and nothing else. Oh, I see. We're going for a very quick expansion here. A very greedy play by Halpan. We'll see if it pays off. I thought maybe Halpan had broke for a moment there and was a little bit worried that we were going to have a really quick last game here, but that does not seem to be the case. That makes me happy. So we have Cyber Core down, and now another gateway coming down for Locutus, so this should be a relatively safe play by Halpan. That should give him a little bit of an economic boost, getting that second command center down a little quicker than usual. Going ahead and scouting, and bumping into the Zealot wall here. That's going to prevent this SCV from going out. Now this is a little bit safer of a play too on Benzine, because Benzine is, I believe, a map with the longest rush distance on the SSCAIT map pool, so perhaps not as dangerous of a gamble as one might think. Although, if you were to get proxied or something like that, you might run into a bit of trouble, but Halpan more than likely has some type of learning and knows that that's not something that Locutus will do very often, for it to make the decision to do that type of greedy move. Now, we are seeing, it looks like a 4-gate from from Locutus, so there is going to be some pressure coming when that 4th gate finishes. So you've got your 4 Dragoons here. 5 Dragoons now. Right around the time this gate finishes, I believe we should see this push out, and then we'll go ahead and check what Halpan is doing. The 4 gates are done, and now we've got the move out happening, the SCV going ahead. Seeing the size of the army, we do have now a forward barracks to take some hits. We've got a Vulture out. We're getting siege tank ability mode. Siege mode ability for the siege tanks. And this Vulture's going to run into the army, see it, but we do have the tank done in time, and it's back pretty far, so might run into a bit of trouble, though. I don't know why it unsieged there, but somewhat well protected, but the Dragoon's able to get in there, deal some damage, but the SCV's repairing it. If they're able to get this tank, but I don't think they're going to, because the SCV's... almost got it. If it had just fired a couple more shots, that would have been the end of the tank, but no, the tank lives to kill some more Dragoons and cause some more blue goop. It's got 4 kills, 5 kills now. Man, that was so close to being busted by Locutus. If it had just attacked the tank a little bit longer, that would have been it, but unable to do so. Wow, that was crazy. Like, seriously, I'm just... wow. I thought that was going to be the game there. Halpan going ahead and using the high ground. I like to see that. You don't see too many bots doing that. Trying to get just some extra damage. I would love to see this one just siege and kind of stay up there until it's ready to move out, perhaps. But pushing forward a little bit now with the tanks, now that the number is a little bit higher. We've got the mines going ahead and planting. We are getting our weapons upgrade, though, so Locutus, I think, has a pretty good contain. Halpon slowly pushing this contain back, but I don't think he's going to be able to get too far out. Although Locutus is proving me wrong by kind of giving up the bridges here, but going to go ahead and take out some of these tanks. The vultures are way out of position, throwing away those tanks. Oh, that is... You hate to see it. Lost a lot of Dragoons, but traded very well for those tanks there. But being forced to push back now that the vultures are actually getting into the mix of things here. Now we've got the spider mines out. I'm not sure if we have observers yet, but the tank's pretty... Oh, one nice mine shot there, but did not get any Dragoons. Oh, 2 goons go down to the mines, so I do believe that we don't have... Yeah, it looks like we do not have a observatory just yet, but we do have a 3rd base here. So we'll return back to the action now as Halpon is going ahead and taking a 3rd base for himself as well. Going to go ahead and dance with the vultures here outside of the natural, causing some problems for Locutus. And then here we have Locutus trying to come across the bridge here. I think he's trying to pressure this 3rd, but walking towards the natural where the tanks are, which is not what you want to see. Just a lot of chip shots happening on various units here, but the tank core now re-established after that dramatic loss when the vultures said, "Forget you tanks, we're not protecting you," and they're doing it again. The vultures out of position, backing off instead of putting themselves in between the Dragoons and the tanks. I mean, even if you don't have a large number of vultures, you just want them in there as bodies to stop the Dragoons from walking up right next to your tanks, which Halpon, I've seen instances of it doing that in this very game, but it seems like something about this position does not work well for it. And again, the vultures backing off, leaving the tanks to just get decimated by the Dragoons. I don't know what's happening here. And now we've got more Dragoons coming in. Surprised we don't see another base coming up for Locutus yet, but Locutus really just keeping up that unit production, pumping out 7, 8 Dragoons at a time. 3 more gates being thrown down. Now we're getting a Templar archive, so we'll probably see some storms come out here soon. We do have a few, looks like Goliaths, but really you just need more vultures, and you need them in the right position when the Dragoons come forward, because they're just not there right now. And really, oh, that was a nice spider mine. I think there was like 4 or 5 Dragoons that just fell there. But really what's keeping Halpon in this fight is just the layout of the map working in his favor with his tanks, and also with that barracks there, making that choke just a little bit smaller. Tank's able to fire from behind it, but losing the 3rd, but he does have a 4th up now, which has gas, so should be okay for the moment. But really, oh, and just leaving the tanks again vulnerable. If you're gonna back up, you gotta back the tanks up too. You can't just leave them there. It's just really... Halpon can't get an army going because he just keeps throwing the tanks away like that. Now Locutus, the Protoss higher up on supply, which is where you want to be as a Protoss. The Observer's out now, which is going to help against the mines, but there's less of those because we do have more Goliaths coming out instead of the Vultures here, and I think this is going to maybe be the beginning of the end, but we can't... Locutus can't quite break through this little barracked up choke here. Throwing down some more mines. The tanks have very good positioning. Really, this might just need to be a wait until... the best move for Locutus would probably be to take that top left out while keeping this natural contained. And then just every time Halpon tries to push out, just smash it. Instead of trying to smash into that natural. Which is just not going to be able to do. Because see, now these tanks are coming up. And they're just going to get exposed because the army's going to run away. And then you can just run in and yeah, take them out. Now the Templar archives may have just been for upgrades, I think, because I don't see any High Templar out on the field, but really they're not needed right now. The Dragoon Observer army seems to be handling its own, really. There's a lot of gateways, it looks like. Kind of slow this down a little bit just to take a peek. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 gateways. Producing units off of 3 base economy. Very strong by Locutus. I would like to see it take another expansion, but it might not even know about this top left base, which is working out for Halpon here, and that might be why the Protoss is not expanding. And really that base difference, along with the geometry, is actually part of what's helping Halpon here. Just he's able, even when he loses all of those tanks, to just reproduce them in enough time, and utilizing that choke point there to stay alive. Now, stay in front of the tanks, vultures. Please don't. Why are you running behind them? No, stay. You can move forward if you stay in front, please. Looks like they're not going to do it, though. They're not listening to me. I mean, they do have quite the attitude if you click on them enough times. So, looks like here we maybe going to be able to push across this bridge. Having some trouble with it. I mean, bridges are hard to push across all the time. And, oh, Hao Pan, unfortunately, with the loss there, on the timeout, at 85 milliseconds. So on the SSCAIT ladder, because they are streamed live, there are limits in how long a frame can be, and if you have so many frames over the 85 millisecond limit, then you will be disqualified from the game. So despite the great effort that Hao Pan was doing, finally pushing the Dragoons across the bridge, Hao Pan, after a 30-minute grueling battle, going and tapping out due to the timeout. That's very unfortunate to see, but that was a great game, though, nonetheless, to watch. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. We got through 11 games, which is a lot. A lot of them were pretty short, though. But again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Stay safe, everyone. And that dropship still just chilling there. We do have... Oh, I thought that was maybe another dropship. It is just a vulture that ran around and was scouting a bit. Going ahead and scanning up, and nope, it desynced. We'll go ahead and switch over to